In light of the Epstein's files, I just want to talk about the subject of pedophilia for a brief moment. I think pedophilia, and I'm only talking about between the ages of 0 and 13, because I definitely think that at the age of 17, you're most part, you're mature enough to engage in sexual activity, and you're of that childbearing maturity. I think 14, 15, and 16 is kind of iffy because it depends on the culture. Around the world, there's different cultures about child marriages, and I'm not going to touch on that. I'm not going to talk about 14, 15, 16, maybe in another video. But basically, 0 to 13 is a definite no. Pedophilia targeting the ages of 0 to 13 is just blatantly wrong. And I'm going to give you two reasons why it's so wrong. So the first reason is, I don't want to deal in absolutes, but for the most part, virtually everyone who enters into this world is sinless, is blameless. They haven't done anything wrong, right? Now, there's different schools of thought that may say that, people are born a sinner, or, the notion of reincarnation. If we just set those other schools of thought aside and just think of it practically, when you're born into this world, you haven't done anything wrong. So that's why I say that they are blameless and sinless at that age. Second, they're not mature enough to engage in sexual activity, like emotionally, mentally, physically, socially. They're just not mature, and to rob them of that agency by engaging in such wild behavior is just so wrong and so unempathetic, because sometimes you have to have empathy for people who are in that vulnerable age group. They depend on others to survive. They depend on others to nurture. It's just an aspect of biology that they're so vulnerable at that age, and to exploit that vulnerability is just so wrong. It's just so clearly, that person who engages it has no empathy, and they're not willing to put themselves in the other person's shoes. So that's my take on why I think such behavior is wrong. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks.